Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at a extremely spicy deck list that I've been meaning to take a look at from the Worlds of this year. And I must admit, when I first looked at this list I was like, what the heck? But you know, when you actually look at it a bit more, it actually starts to make a bit of sense. So today we're going to take a look at Raging Bolt EX with Joltik. Now, of course, that does give us a few extra attackers and stuff like that in the list, and of course we can get Grass Energy and Lightning Energy to play a lot easier. But what that actually grants us is Iron Hands EX, which typically Bolt doesn't do too well into single prize decks, so having the option to just go amp does definitely help out in that regard. Obviously, a lot of these single prize decks tend to play Fez as well, so obviously that's where Bolt can come in, and also our single prize lineup is also pretty decent. But of course, this is just a deck list that I saw it and I was like, okay, this is on the list to try, and I've just not had time to do it. Now, this is not the exact list that went to Worlds. I've done a few changes myself, mainly just for personal preference and everything. But it's one of those lists that I think is very adaptable. So before we go any further, in the description below, as per normal, there's going to be the links to the timestamps. There'll be the deck list, we obviously will be going to in a minute. There'll be the games that we play and the outro of what I think of the deck. The deck list that I've made, at least, is also available to copy in the description as well. So as I said, we're obviously running 2 copies of Iron Hands. This is just so we have a pressure into single prize decks and things like that. Obviously, we still have Teal Ogerpon as draw, and also the fact that we can recover the Grass Energy quite easily that we use off the Joltik, so that's another thing as well. That also gives us Grass type coverage. Obviously, we have the Joltik as well to accelerate energy into play. 1 copy of Miraidon, which I really think should be 2, but to be fair, you're using the Nest Ball. We played Max Nest and Ultra Balls. The original list only had 4 Nest Ball, 3 Ultra Ball. I've upped it to 4, so that way if we prize our Miraidon, we can still get stuff down. We're obviously playing a Latias as well. We're playing a Mew as well, just to have a little bit of extra draw. I've sneaked in a Koraidon. I think this is quite important. The original list played a Slither Wing, so I've kept that as well. It's a little bit harder to set this guy up than you might think, because you do need 2 fighting energy on him. But Burning Turbulence deals with Pikachu, deals with an Uncharmed Iron Hands and a few other things. Also deals with Bloodmoon Ursaluna, so that's another thing it can do. Then, of course, we have a Fez of our own, and we also have the Bolts. We're playing 3 Bolts in this list. We also have a Bloodmoon Ursaluna and a Squawk, just in case. Now, the Bloodmoon, of course, is not typically put into this sort of list, but I figured because we're basically playing a Joltik-like box, Bloodmoon Ursaluna is kind of vital, so I've thrown in an Ursaluna. But, yeah, this list was really interesting to, look at and obviously try and, add to it. And I think I've done a good job of it, but obviously we'll see how we do in the games. So, let's go to the deck list, and let's have a look. And welcome to the deck list. So, of course, we are playing a decent amount of energy. We're actually playing a bit higher than a normal Bolt. Typical Bolts are playing around about 11 to 12 energy. We're playing 13 in this list. This is only because we want to use Joltik to get these energies into play, if we're not going straight in with Bolt, that is. Obviously, we're not always going to use Iron Hands, and to be honest, we're not always going to use Joltik, so this could just be discard fodder if need be. But if we are facing a single prize matchup that can take a bit of time to set up, like, for example, Ethan's Typhlosion, we can obviously go in with the Iron Hands, we can obviously do it against evolving matchups as well, and it just gives us more flexibility. And I can definitely see why this sort of list did well. I don't remember the record of the original list that I found. I think it was in the top 64 that it did at Worlds. But honestly, this was fun to look at. So of course we'll play the 3 Raging Bolt, 3 Teal Ogerpon, obviously for type coverage as well. We're also playing 2 Iron Hands, 2 Joltiks, 1 Slither Wing, 1 Mew, 1 Fez, 1 Latias, 1 Miraidon, 1 Squawk, 1 Koraidon, and 1 Bloodmoon Ursaluna. Like I said, the list that I saw, we're not playing an Ursaluna, which I kind of think is needed in this, but I suppose it depends on the situation and how you manage to set up. Then we're playing 4 Sadas, 2 Boss, 2 Crispin, 1 Professor Turo, 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Pokégear, I've gone up from 2 to 3, 2 Night Stretcher, which I think you could potentially go up to 3 in this. Same with Earthen Vessels, but again, it's just finding a room because there is not a lot of room in this list. We're also playing 1 copy of Superior Energy Retrieval. This is mainly for the grass energies for the Teal Mask, and of course we can get back our hand attachments as well. 1 copy of Prime, obviously this is just standard for Bolt list to be fair. 2 copies of Area Zero, 1 copy of Jamming Tower. This is more for the Guardian matchup because I suspect that could be pretty rough even with the hands. Then 6 Grass, 4 Lightning, 3 Fighting. This is quite... How can I word it? Like, it's not a list that I think, you know, it's perfect. I think there are things to improve about the list. Like, for example, as I said, not a lot of lists are playing a bear. So that's another thing. There's also no Power Pad in here, which, again, that's just something that I think could benefit this list overall. Obviously, the original list was playing Pokemon catchers for, like, extra gust. I don't think you need those personally, but that's what I've made the room for. So I cut those 2, put in the 4th Ultra Ball on the 3rd Pokégear. Because obviously, I'm used to playing a Raging Bolt list with Owls. So not having the Owls doesn't give me as much flexibility as a typical Bolt list. So that's kind of why I've got up to 3 Pokégear. You could even go up to 4 by cutting that 4th Ultra Ball if you really wanted to. A lot of them are also playing 3 copies of Area Zero, not 2 plus a Jamming Tower. But again, that's something to potentially look at. But honestly, this list, to me, has a lot of potential. Like, I can definitely see where the person was originally cooking with it. And like I said, it's got all the coverage you need. You've got the Iron Hands for the baby matchups. You got the Slither Wing for dealing with Pikachu and Bear and stuff like that. And also a good single prize in general. You've got the Koraidon as an extra attacker in that matchup. You've got Teal Mask for type coverage. You've got Iron Hands for pressure. You've got the Raging Bolt to blow up anything in the active. And in my case anyway, you have Bloodmoon Ursaluna as your backup attacker for the late game. So I think this list does cover a lot of bases, and I'm looking forward to trying it. So, let's get some games, see how we do. Welcome to game 1. Just quickly had to go do something. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this deck. It's definitely a deck. Okay, that was weird. It's never come up with a coin before like that. Right, well, we will be going second, for obvious reasons. Yeah, I've never seen that bug before, but, well, to be fair, they did some maintenance a little bit ago, so... I'm going to start the Latias, that way we don't look suspicious. Obviously, we can put down the Area Zero, put down a Squawk, Joltik, etc. Attach Fighting to Joltik, but I don't want to reveal that just yet. I want to play it stealthily, so to speak. And obviously, because we've got Joltik in hand turn 1, we could, if we get the right draw, we could even swing early with something else and avoid benching Joltik altogether. But it depends on the matchup. We'll obviously see what we face against. Benching 3 Pokemon. That's fine. Gouging Fire! Ooh, this is spicy. Well, we're not going to use Joltik in this matchup, because Gouging Fire is pretty fast in terms of its attacks. Ethan's Hoe with Gouging Fire. How the heck does this work, then? Do you have an Armor Ridge package, or are you just playing 2 Gouging Fire for, like, Cornerstone or something? Very strange. But, I mean, it has legs in the format. I mean, Gouging Fire still sees play. There's Golden Flame. I love this SIR, by the way, of the Gouging Fire. I have this card. It's sat in my memory binder. Because I used to play a deck that had Gouging Fire and Raging Bolt in the same deck. So it's more of a... you know, like, memory sort of thing. So yeah, we're not going to use Joltik in this matchup, because obviously it's vulnerable to Heat Blast. And to be brutally honest, I don't think we need it. Although with that, I think we might have to. So we'll get rid of an Iron Hands. And we can get rid of a Turo. We can grab ourselves a Teal Mask. We can do a quick prize check whilst we're here as well. So we've not prized any Iron Hands. We've not prized a Miraidon. We prized 1 Bolt and 1 Ogerpon. That is fine. We prized... Let me just check discard. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. Obviously, Teal Mask Ogerpon is vulnerable, but at the same time, it's also not. No, do that. There we go. There's a Crispin, but that doesn't help us right now. That is a whiff on the Pokégear, which is bad. We could... I'm just thinking. Could we Crispin and do something? But not really. So I'm just gonna pass. I suspect this is an Armarouge, like, Ho-Oh sort of deck, and it just uses Gouging Fire as its main attacker. That's my suspicion, anyway. And to be fair, we probably could have gone for the Joltik, just to get energy in play, but I don't see it as a big deal. The Crispin doesn't really benefit us right now, so that's why I didn't bother playing it. The only way it would is if we... What the heck is this? Double Badoo. Well, we can Unrelate and Unsort them if we have to. There's a Crispin. What's the Crispin in here for? You're mainly playing Fire Energy. Unless you're playing Darks for, like, Monkey Dory or something? I don't know. I'm a little bit, like, confused right now. Psychic Energy? Okay. Why are you playing Psychic Energy? Are you planning to attack with a Latias at some point? I mean, fair play. I'm going to say that right now, but, like, you know, we've not got a great setup so far, so that's definitely not helping us. So what are they going to go into? They're going to go into the Badoo and Itchy Pollen. That's okay. Obviously, the Gouging Fire is a big threat in this form, well, in this matchup, because obviously it does 260 and we don't play any health tools. So this is just going to be down to who can 2-2-2 fastest. Okay, so we can't do really anything. So we're going to Crispin, grab a Grass and a Lightning. We'll put the Grass in hand, accelerate the Lightning to the Koraidon. I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to Teal Dance. Okay, we got the energy, that's fine. We can take out the Badoo at least with the Unrelenting Onslaught. Because it does 30 base, so we can at least take out the Badoo and take a prize card. Not ideal in this matchup, because obviously we want to be going 2-2-2 primarily, but we can obviously get something going if need be. There's another Badoo. So I think they're just trying to buy time to like set up their boys, which is fair enough. Obviously, Unrelenting Onslaught can deal with these Badoos, just base. Now, important thing to note. What are you playing? Arven? Ah? As I was saying, so if one of your other ancient Pokemon uses an attack during the last turn, this attack does 150 more. That doesn't apply if Koraidon does it. Hero's Cape? What the heck is this list? I mean, the Psychic Energy is obviously for this, but like, why would you attack with Latias? Earthen Vessel, discarding... Please tell me you discard the Hero's Cape, that would make my job a lot easier. 3 Badoos? Huh? Okay, sure. I mean, you can go into the Gouging Fire now, but like, you know, it's... I don't know this list. Like, this is confusing. So obviously we know their hand now is Hero's Cape plus another Fire. Because I've just attached one to that Gouging Fire. Golden Flame, attach another. Even if they do item lock, I could just attack with Koraidon again. But ideally, we kind of want to just get set up. I really wish I had gone for the Joltik, but obviously I wasn't to know. That's the main thing. And I'm going to go into the Gouging Fire. Obviously, we know Hero's Cape is their last card in hand. There's the Hero's Cape. So 330 HP Gouging Fire. We need 5 energy to kill it. That's going to be pretty tough. He's only taken a single prize here, and he has to use Blaze Blitz. If he doesn't, and there we go. So now what that means is this Gouging Fire cannot do that again. He can Heat Blast, but he has to retreat it, then switch. And his hand is now only 1 card. So let's promote the Latias and draw for turn. There's a Sada, excellent. So we'll Nest Ball. Grab ourselves a Bolt. Just trying to think, is any of our single prizes good in this matchup? Not particularly. So we'll Nest Ball again. For another Raging Bolt, plus we've prized them anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, Chief. So we'll stop fighting and do I want to do fighting? I think I do. Well, there's Mew. Mew can draw us a few cards now. We can grab Fez for extra draw, but we Mew first. Mew first, because that's where we get the guaranteed 3. That's not helpful. Fez for 3. There's a Vessel and a Lightning Energy, so we do have the knockout. So let's get rid of that Joltik. Grab some grasses, specifically. We can then Ultra Ball the Iron Hands and the Pokégear. Grab another Teal Mask. Bench the Teal Mask. We can then Teal Dance. So that way we do have another attacker, technically speaking, but given this is a fire attacker-based matchup, I don't really want to use these guys. Okay, that's fine. We can attach 1 energy to the Bolt. Retreat into the Bolt. And Bellowing Thunder will take out that Gouging Fire. So, because I don't know what they're planning, I'm going to get rid of the Fighting Energy here. 2 grasses here. We'll get rid of the 1 here. And 1 more, so we'll discard... I mean, we can always Superior these back, but I'd rather take it off the active. Just in case. So that's 350 damage. That takes out the Gouging Fire. Excellent work. There's a Raging Bolt at the prizes and a Night Stretcher. That's fine. In fact, I say single prizes were prized. We've not prized the Koraidon, but I meant the Slither Wing. In case anyone jumps in the comments and says, Joe, you're an idiot. And, you know, I appreciate, obviously, like, feedback and everything. If, like, I make a misplay or something like that, like, feel free to just say it in the comments, like, genuinely. I'm more than happy to listen to what you have to say. Obviously, in this situation, Itchy Pollen is actually going to be a pain in our ass, but we can always burst Roar if need be. There's a Night Stretcher that's completely unplayable. So, what I'm thinking is, I give them the Squawk, and if they attack with the Ho-Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Plus, if we get an energy, we can just recycle it. But... oh, they just conceded. Okay, that's fine. We'll take that. I was taking a bit of time to make my move, sure, but, like, I wasn't slow playing, you know, but... really interesting list. Like, I get the concept, I just think it's a bit hard to charge up a Gouging Fire. Yeah, maybe we could look at something like that in the future, like a purely focused Gouging Fire, like Heroes Cape build. I don't know, it's a bit of a weird list, but still, I appreciate facing it. Let's go to a game 2. And welcome to game 2. That was a really interesting list that we faced here. I've now moved up to Mewtwo rank. I must admit, like, that list was weird. Like, I don't understand. I understand at least 1 Bidoof, but not 3. You know, if I had the Baby Bolt in this list, which, again, that's another single prizer to consider, I could have gone with that. You know, it's one of those, like, you have a lot of potential inclusions into this deck, and I think Baby Bolt would have definitely carried its weight in that matchup. But I do think they needed to play the Armor Ridge line to just, like, make sense. The triple Bidoof just didn't make sense in that regard. Okay, again, we're going to start the free retreater, because we don't want to reveal what we have. I know, obviously, content dictates that I use the Joltik, but in that first matchup I wasn't sure if it was appropriate. And in this matchup it definitely will be, because this is control. It's making us go first. So, we're going to bench the Joltik. We're then going to Nest Ball. We can grab Latias, and I think that's appropriate. We can also Squawk, because this hand is not doing a lot after this first turn. So we'll definitely do that. Bench the Iron Hands. Attach a Lightning. We could Ultra Ball and, like, thin these cards out and, like, get some extra draw off the Mew. So what's this do? Move an energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon. Okay, so we Ultra Ball. Grab a Bolt. Because that way, if they do that shenanigans, we can at least do something about it. Before we Squawk, we move for free. I actually don't want to Squawk now. That's actually kind of shit. Hold on. In fact, no. We can do that. We can thin some energies out. Do that. And then Squawk. That way we're just thinning as much as we can. So now we can Nest Ball for a Teal Mask. Get a Teal Dance in. Draw 1. That is fine, and we will pass. I know roughly what this list is. It's a control list. It plays, I believe, handheld fan. So, like, getting an Iron Hands down is going to really help us in this matchup. I've also just remembered that I didn't prize check, but in this matchup, only things we really need are Turo to pick up that Squawk, and we just need to manage our energy properly. That's about all we need to do in this matchup. Obviously, Mew can attack as well. We can copy Beam, which, you know, that's not much, but we have at least some lines here. We're not completely out the woods in this matchup. Okay, so Brock's scouting. I don't know the list, before anyone asks me in the comments. I don't know the list. I just know this card's in it. Okay, it's a Dunsparce build. If they play the EX, that could be an issue, but we can deal with that. Redeemable ticket. That's fine. Could you imagine if PTCG Live like bugged it out every time you play a redeemable ticket, like you automatically lose the game? It would not surprise me if the devs missed that, to be fair. Okay, so there's a jamming tower. I don't know if that's going to matter in this matchup, but I would imagine it would. I'll then Night Stretcher back the grass. Free retreat into Joltik. We're not going to Sada yet. We're just going to Jolting charge. And we'll put 3 on the hands, 1 on the bolt. Because we could just attach for turn if we need to. Also Crispin as well is an option. We want to like get this Iron Hands going in this matchup, I believe. Like I say, I don't know this matchup, so again, don't ask me. I don't have a Scooby. All I know is that LGM's in it, redeemable tickets in it, and that is about it. That's all I know. I don't know if it does anything else. Like, I don't know if it attacks. I don't know if it does really anything. I just know that Iron Hands is probably going to be MVP in this matchup. But obviously, again, I don't know. So, no use asking me. I'm not exactly, you know, not exactly used to a control list like this. It's, you know, it's not really something that you think about. Another thing I mentioned, or I forgot to mention in the intro as well, was you can potentially... Oh, there's an Iona, that's fine. What I was going to say was you can potentially use something like a Galvantula in this list. So, like, cut down to 2 Teal mass, play a Galvantula, because obviously you play Crispins, you can support that. And like have Joltik as an extra, well, Joltik into Galvantula as an extra attacker. So I'm going to remember what this does. So moving energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon. So realistically, they want to move off the Iron Hands and then do other shenanigans like that. Obviously, because we play Bolt as our primary attacker, this is not going to be an issue. It's more the issue of Iron Hands losing in his energy, which could be a concern. There's a Genesect with a tool. That's okay, we can deal with that. So Prime Catcher, that basically means, but we can deal with that. I want to see what they move with this slight shift attack. Obviously, Prism is counting for their psychic energy here. There's a Monkey Dory, but that's not going to help them in this matchup. There's a Handheld Fan. That's going to be annoying, but we can deal with that. Slight shift. Let's see what they move. Probably going to be an energy off the Iron Hands, if I had to make a guess. They could also move it off the Joltik. And yeah, they're going to move the Lightning to the Squawk. Fair play. Fair play at all. Let's go for a Pokégear. That's a fail. I could play Turo now and like go into Squawk, or get Squawk going as an attack, but I don't think it's necessary. So I'm just going to Turo the Squawk. Then we'll... Do we want to bench Latias? Because I don't see much problem with it. We'll bench the Latias. Attach a Fighting. Retreat the Raging Bolt. Or into the Raging Bolt. And we'll then Bellowing Thunder, take it off the Joltik. Obviously we do lose an energy off the Bolt in this case, I believe. Is that how Handheld Fan works? I never remember. Let's read this card. This Pokemon is damaged by an attack. So what? Did he not trigger the effect? Did he not bother? Huh. Okay, it's your deck at the end of the day, mate. But this matchup is another reason for playing a Pal Pad, I think. I was going to put one in, but I was like, I don't know where I fit it in. Because obviously you want to be playing double Joltik anyway, so that just makes sense. But obviously in order to attack with Iron Hands, we need to get these energies out. There's a Hilda. Maybe he's going to attack with a Fan Rotom. Maybe there's something I don't know about this list. How many Crispin are we down, actually? We're not down any Crispin. That's good. Yeah, this is a really strange deck. Like, obviously, because we have not been able to get Iron Hands going, this is going to make it a bit longer, but I'm happy to take my time here. So there's that Enriching Energy, which means they can draw 4 cards. But again, I don't really see how this benefits them, because I can just discard energy with the Bolt. It's not a major deal. There's another LGM. But obviously they've already committed their turn attachment to this Bolt, or this Fan Rotom. Counter Catcher doesn't really matter, because I have Latias in play. They can ping the Iron Hands, which, fair enough, I understand that. But unless they play, what's the stadium? Is it Calamitous Wasteland or something like that? And it, like, stops anything that isn't fighting type from retreating? I don't know. It's a bit odd. Okay, they're going for an Assault Landing. Interesting choice. There's another Sada. We can Sada now. I'm going to Teal Dance first, get this energy into play. We can then Ultra Ball away the Squawk and a Nest Ball. Fail that. I can then Sada to the Bolt, one of the Lightnings. Okay, that's not particularly great. We can then retreat into the Raging Bolt. And Bellowing Thunder will take it off. Because I'm in Crispin range for this, that's why I'm debating doing it. We'll just take it off the active, it's fine. That's that gone. There's an Ultra Ball, not particularly useful in a minute. Obviously, we do have a lot of Pokemon which don't... Like, we do have, obviously, Latias, which can't attack. We have Joltik, which doesn't technically attack. We do have, you know, bad things about this matchup. It's not an easy matchup, I know that much. But we have potential here. It's not like we're completely out of the woods. Lively Stadium, that does nothing for you, mate. It just makes my job a little bit more harder, but I can deal with that. If they have Bravery Charm, that means a little bit more, but, like, it's still only 2 discards off a Raging Bolt, so I'm not particularly worried. Plus, I guess it means our Joltik is safe from Monkey Dory, but... you know, you gotta think of the positives, I guess. But yeah, I'm hoping to see Crispin, because Crispin would enable us to... Well, Crispin plus Area 0 to bounce the Lively. Because then we can obviously, you know, do something with the Iron Hands, take 2 prizes, and just go from there. Because you have 110 HP, so we could even gust the Genesect if you want. Obviously, we are down a boss, and obviously we can't play Prime Catcher whilst this guy's around. Giovanni's Charisma. Put an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon in your hand. If you do, attach an energy card from your hand to your active Pokemon. Okay, sure. So you only played it for that effect. Okay, that's weird. Because I can just manually attach. It's not a big deal. Very strange move there with the Giovanni's Charisma. You'd think an Iona would be better. Ethan Sudowoodo. Right, that needs to go. I know what he does, and he's going to be a problem. So... in the meantime... Oh, okay, they just concede. Excellent. That Ethan Sudowoodo would have been a massive problem if they'd have gotten that set up. Because obviously we don't, as I said, we don't play Palpad. So if they'd have trapped the Latias, that would have been a big problem. But thankfully they conceded before that happened. But still, definitely think a Palpad needs to come in here. But still, let's go to game 3. Back. That was a very interesting control list. Like I say, I think that matchup pretty much says to me, we need to be playing a Power Pad in here. Like, yeah, we could have Phantom Area 0, gone from there, and, you know, we could have done this, that, and the other, discarded some of our less useful Pokemon, but personally, I don't think, like, that's a reliable strategy. I'd rather have, you know, the option to do what I said, like, have the Power Pad and stuff like that. Gholdengo, this could be interesting. We don't know, obviously, if it's Gholdengo. Let's take another look at that. It's definitely it could be because there's grass energy, but Gholdengo plays 1 grass energy anyway. Standard Gholdengo anyway. That's fine. That's a good start. Okay, that's fine. If it is Gholdengo, we do have the advantage because obviously we are going second, but at the same time they can just find their Genesect, so it's not guaranteed, but you know, it's something. Oh dear. Right, let's see what we can do, because we might be able to get a donk. Okay, that doesn't help me much. So we are going to grab a Squawk here. We can then bench the Miraidon to thin, because Miraidon can thin us at some cards. Then, I'm not going to attach for turn, because that could matter. We're just going to Squawk, because we could get the donk here. Is that a donk? Is it? Hold on. No, we missed a donk. That's fine, though, because we can still go for the Joltik. So we'll attach to the Joltik. Retreat the Ogerpon, and we will just Jolting Charge. This is why, as well, like, I love playing the Owls version, because with the Owls version we play we play Fan Rotom, and that would have been the end of it. But unfortunately, we do not play a Fan Rotom in this list, and there's a Gholdengo with an E-Search Pro in hand. Jesus, wet. Okay, sure. That's bad, but we can make it work. Like, if he doesn't gust up the Iron Hand status, that's fine. There's a Nest Ball. He could Hyper Blower here as well. Nope, there's Genesect, so he's threatening the Genesect on Gimme Ghouls. Metallic Signal to thin. Obviously, he's only just put down them Gimme Ghouls now, but you know. Make it rain. That is fine. Now, another thing to note as well is we don't play any hand disruption in this list, so that's something to bear in mind. Okay, that doesn't particularly help. So let's go for a Fez. Fez for 3. That doesn't help at all, Chief. I'm just trying to think. We don't really have an option right now, because we can't really Iron Hands. I mean, we can hit it for 160, but like that does nothing, because I know he has a bunch of energy in hand. Right, before we do anything else, let's Earthen Vessel, because we can tilt for an extra card. That's my thought process. Okay, there's Koraidon. Koraidon lets us see off of Sada. But like that doesn't really help unless we draw Prime. So we'll do that. Touch of Lightning. Still whiffing. That is crazy. Like I said, I don't really want to hit this Gholdengo for 160, but I might not have a choice because we don't play a bundle. Ultra Ball. I actually want to keep that stadium around. These two. So we can get the Latias in play and like sit behind the Koraidon, but all they need is Gust, and I think that feels bad. We could grab another Teal Mask and potentially draw. I think that's our safest bet right now. That's another Teal mass. That does nothing for us. So, I think we use Koraidon as a meat shield. Does pinging it for 30 do anything for us? Not particularly. It does put it in Bloodmoon range, but getting a Bloodmoon set up now would just be copium. I'm just going to pass. That is so unfortunate that we've whiffed that hard. So unfortunate. But, I mean, you're going to have these games where you just whiff. It's not like, you know, guaranteed all the time. But all they literally need now is just a boss. And like I say, because our Iron Hands is charged up, that's an issue in itself. But I'm hoping that potentially we can just, you know, deal with this. No, there's the boss. Yeah, that is, that's what happens when you whiff, folks. They do need to discard 5 energy, though, but that's not particularly difficult for a Gholdengo list. And there we go. Blinging it out with the energy, man. Those energies have cost you a bucket load. Alright, we'll promote the Fez, because it doesn't really matter what we promote. There's an Ultra Ball, so that does find us a, that does find us what we need, so we'll get rid of these two. I'm going to play that regardless, but I have no confidence here because we're down to 3 prizes now. Flip the script. There's Latias, that helps. But I don't think we have any energy left in deck to Crispin. No. So yeah, we just lose from here. I'll just concede and give it up. Really unfortunate we whiffed that dong. That was so bad. Like, we didn't even get to use Slither Wing, so that is just unfortunate. We could have potentially donked the Slither Wing if we got lucky enough, but no, sadly not. But that is that's 3 games played, although we didn't get to do much in the third. So what did I think of the deck? That was definitely something. Like, it does have potential. I just think I'm of the opinion that whilst I do like the idea of Iron Hands and everything in this list, I just think this list is trying to do a bit too much. It doesn't have the ability to donk as effectively as a normal Raging Bolt list would, because like I said, if we'd have been playing the normal Raging Bolt list, we'd have just donked with a Fan Rotom and that would have been the end of that. We wouldn't have needed to Nest Ball for Squawk. We had Stadiums in hand, we had the energy in hand. And obviously we had the Teal Dance onto the active Ogerpon. So we would have had that donk there and then. But like I said, because this doesn't play a Pikachu or anything like that, which, you know, that'd be really hard to like fit this in plus Metal Energy. I think this is a list that, in theory, is very good, but obviously against something like Gholdengo, it doesn't have the consistency that it needs. I think, like I say, the regular Owls list for Gholdengo, for the Gholdengo matchup would probably be better. But honestly, this deck was a lot of fun to play. Really enjoyed playing it, and honestly, so glad I did get to play it. But anyway, we'll leave it all to it for today. Really hope you enjoyed seeing Raging Joltik in action, and I'll see you next time.